get right into it and go to it. All right. So when we talk about tonight, the earth will shake. That's what you saw on the thumbnail. And why would the earth shake? That's going to be the theme of what we're talking about, this cataclysms, the pole shifting, and all of the stuff, whatever we want to go. And we're going to go into that because this is part of the Nibiru stuff. And like I said, you don't have to take it all in as a grain of salt. You can take it that way. But my job is to give you enough information you can read, you can hear, you can see, to awaken your curiosity to the possibility that the Nibiru phenomena is right on point. But you step the rest of the way yourself, right? And I'm just going to give you enough to lead because I've always said it, and I'm going to say it again. Your eyes are useless when your mind is blind. All right, so I put that out there. And we were told that the pole shift is slowly over eons. It happens over eons. But what if I told you that the next one, and once again, this is educational purposes for you, all right? But the next one could handle happen within hours. And it's happened like this before, okay? So you go back into looking up some of the stuff. And the government, or big secret keepers, we call them here, are debating if it's coming. They're not saying if. Because I grew up at a time in the hood, and they would say when you talk about if, and my daddy used to always say, son, if was a fifth, we all would be drunk. So, and then my coach used to say, when we all used to give him excuses, if was a whatever, I'm not going to say it. if was a dog, he would, whatever. But let's keep going. And they're preparing for what it does is what we're seeing. And I was talking about that all week. I've been talking about the bunkers and the simulations of all of this stuff and prepping and all of these things that, preppers, I have a little side company. I don't even promote it to you all a lot. It's called Preparedness Life. And we sell, gear, preparedness gear, I have a zombie kit, alien kit, however, and I got preparedness bags, bug out bags. I have them. I don't know if you guys have those things, but you should, and you should have one that lasts for weeks, not no days, so that you and your family, whether it's power, stuff out. But anyway, look them up. You can find that stuff anywhere, and that's just a suggestion. Because that's about as best as some of us is going to be able to do when all these things hit the fan, if it does. And once again, it's better have it not needed, needed not have it. But the official line that they talk about is nothing to worry about. But yet they're building their freaking bunkers. The big secret keepers got underground bases and things for the higher ups to go and all of this stuff. And rich people are moving. They're not really buying oceanfront property anymore because maybe water is everywhere, and we know it is. The earth is 73% water, and they're acting like it now all of a sudden. So these coastal and coastline properties and all this, we already know about all these tsunamis and all of this stuff. And this happens because the whole theory of Nibiru, Planet X, the black planet, whatever you want to call it, as it gets closer and closer over time, it begins to cause pole shifts and all of those things. But they're saying it's not a little small tidbit movement. It's going to be something bigger. Pole shifts are natural and they take thousands of years, okay? Nothing would happen in your lifetime. The planet is stable. Now, that's a quote that we hear from the government, right? And I read it in such a way so that it's just, and I didn't want to scare you because I could have read it, hey, nothing's going to happen in your lifetime is what they said, but don't believe them, but no, or whatever. But I wanted to say nothing will happen in your lifetime, but it's what they say. But also buried inside geology, prophecy, then you talk about, magnitude data, and also they all said this is a signal that is happening. Now, again, our magnetic field has been weakening rapidly over the last 150 years. This is why we do have a lot of craft that do crash here because our magnetic fields has been off. And you see it in the movies. They talk about that constantly in the movies when they do this. And it's just something that they hit. Like Jarrell says, yeah, they be trying to get off the planet. They are. That's why you see interplanetary type of stuff that they're making, trying to go to Mars, recolonize, or asteroid tourism is coming, so you can move and live on an asteroid. Yeah, they're working on that right there. And go back and look. About 4 years ago, I did a whole report. JP Morgan was telling all their investors to get into what they call the space economy because everything is moving to space. Jeff Bezos mentioned that industry is moving to space. This is when I launched Project Black, telling all of the people to begin to understand, prepare your children for the new space economy, because you don't want to be the one talking about there's nothing up there and here and there they is going on their way to work up in this little quick craft, because you don't have to be an astronaut to go to work in space. And they look out the window and they see a freaking extraterrestrial, and they lose their freaking mind because the parents were so blinded and just only told them only thing up there is heaven. And I'm against that, right? Not that heaven doesn't exist, but it's more up there than that. And heaven could be a little past that, right? And we just got to keep it going. Anyway, that was a sidebar, an emotional one at that, because that's been one of my missions, to let people understand that we have to prepare our younger generation for what's to come. And people call it disclosure, they call it whatever, but we got to prepare our younger generation. Oh, we have an old cat in the house tonight. Magnetis attracts. He ain't been here in a long time. Actually, we was like this, and he made me this money that I have in there, and then he disappeared, but he's back. So welcome back, my man. All right, so listen, military satellite data confirms anomalies in South Atlantic and Arctic zones. And we already been knowing about this. We've been knowing about the Arctic stuff is melting, the polar ice caps. We see it. The movies talk about it. The girl that would be doing a one eye and stuff, Greta, she is mad about climate. She's mean. She's out there, and of course she's talking about climate and seals and ducks and all this stuff is not in the same place they used to be. And it's just so much is going on, but we don't talk about it. And the pole shift has been drifting faster than ever recorded, but that's not something they're going to alert us, right? They're just going to move. And I'm doing it with them. I'm building me a bunker. 5 years, I will have a bunker. Okay. Plain and simple. And you can't tell people where it is, because it's going to be the has-nots that's going to be coming looking for my bunker, knocking on the door, and Roderick, saying, let me in, and blah, blah, blah. We cool, and I know I never gave to your show, and I never, I always, put thumbs down. I never liked your videos. I never shared your video, but I watched you. Let me into your bunker. You know the story. And, I got a big heart, and I'll be like, okay, you never liked my video. You never shared my videos, and I'm going to let you in my bunker. Go figure that one. I will let you, the haters can come and stay in the bunker, because you got to have haters wherever you go. You can't prosper without the haters. All right. So what would they gain by lying about the shift that can happen? And let's get into it, because what they're going to be talking about is ancient records and what they want science to agree on. And I'm telling you now, my other hat over there said disobey. We ain't going down that route, right? We're not hearing that. I mean, we're not going to obey and follow the protocol. So if you go to the website, you're going to see all kind of rebellion gear. That's what this is, the rebellion. True self-love and the rebellion. And, I wear my own stuff. Y'all don't have. All right, so listen. I'm being petty. I'm being petty. I'm really being petty. Bad boy. All right, so you got to spank yourself sometime. Listen, here's where it gets interesting. The ancient texts from the Hopi legends and the Egyptian glyphs speak of days when the sun rose in the west. So I think that's a little opposite, right? It rises in the east now, right? Am I correct? And then it sets in the west. So they're saying that it rises the other way. So it's in the opposite. That would mean a shift, okay? And it's in ancient texts when it come down. Modern physics now confirm if the earth crust slips suddenly over its core, the reversal is possible. So this is why they probably want to go underground. Now we can talk about the ant people, the legends, and all this ties into this whole Nibiru myth that's coming down this pipeline, right? So it's just something that we just keep going down in pretty much. Charles Hapgood theory, supported by Einstein, which is one of the most smartest people. In fact, long time ago, Einstein, whatever, was considered one of the most smartest people in the world. He warned of this exact event, triggered by an external gravitational stressors like Nibiru. So Einstein talked about this. So how is it all of a sudden, and hold on to your britches here, because we're going to get biblical here in the second segment of the show. We're going to go to the Bible. But before I get to that, let me continue. All right. So one of the things we got to think about is, why did Einstein endorse a fringe pole shift theory, and why was it buried? Why would the smartest person in the world, who have something to lose, not only his legacy, but his whole brilliancy of being brilliant, why would he conjure up and talk about some of the most radical stuff? But he did. And he knew what he was talking about when it came down to this. And of course, they buried it in a heartbeat. Now, another question, and these are things for you to ponder on. When I give you these questions, it's for you to not only give me feedback, but also you go back and you look for some of these things for yourself, so that you begin to explore. And therefore, you'll have your own answers, and you don't have to rely and on something that maybe you say, well, that Roderick is crazy, and we're going to be crazy together. However, let's not pretend where I'm about to say next. The government has relocation maps for pole shift survivals. They already have planned preparation. And I say this all the time, because preparation ain't when it happened, it's before. You know, I sold tornado preparation supplies. In fact, in this office here, I have tornado devices. I don't talk to the audience about it, because I didn't think that some of y'all interested in it. I got one of the world's first tornado alert systems. And I had, they sent me about 10 of them, 20, I think. And I think, I offered, last year to some of you all, and I still got 10 left. But listen, these things, and the reason I bring that up, because people don't prepare. And back in 20, whenever, I was in a tornado the day after Christmas, lost everything I had. That thing hit our house like a freight train. So, but ever since then, I've been an advocate. So I'm saying we often don't want to prepare because we just don't think it would happen. And I'm saying this is the whole point of people not preparing for any type of cataclysm that could happen: flood, tornadoes, pole shift. Let me say it again: pole shifts. And people just don't look into that. Listen, certain world cities like Denver, you all know the rumors of Denver. You already know what the airport looks like. You already hear about because you're truth seekers, you already know the rumors underneath this darn thing. You already seen the symbolism of the blue horses and the stuff on the walls and the imagery and all of that. You've seen it. Denver talks. But certain world cities like Denver, Switzerland, parts of Argentina have been reinforced. Denver has always been the place where they've been reinforcing for something big, allegedly, that they built stuff underneath, allegedly. Y'all get what I'm saying? They've been preparing forever. Why not? You know what I'm saying? And in fact, if you want some logic behind it, when did Noah build the ark? Answer that question. Put in the chat. And then we'll give you kudos. When did Noah build the ark? That's the riddle, okay? Now, underground seed vaults, data bunkers, continuity government drills increased after 2012. Now, that's been one of my stories that my legacy. I may not leave millions of dollars to the heirs and heirs, but I'm going to leave there some seeds. I've been collecting some seeds. I don't have a lot, but I got enough that they can grow and start their own gardens when that thing is going to be a high commodity, more than money in the future, the way things are looking at some point. They're preparing for it. And magneticist said, before the flood. That is the correct answer. When did Noah build the ark? Before it rained. And that's when you should prepare for anything and all things. Before. Now, again, it's better have it not needed not have it. But if the question is this, if a sudden pole shift could be triggered by Nibiru's near pass, it's not going to collide with us. It never had done that. So we're not talking about an Ellie. You know what that means, right? And so we're not talking about it in Ellie here. We're just saying it's going to pass by. And let me clarify. Ellie is extensional level event, okay? We're not talking about that. We're just talking about it's going to swoop by, and you've all seen a car pass you real fast. If you're standing on the corner, you feel it. So imagine a whole planet, an atmosphere, or all of this stuff. So obviously, they're saying it has happened in the past. Ancient text, ancient stuff has said it has happened in the past. However, if we want to go with the word as the word, then our next segment, we're going to go into some biblical stuff. We're just going to touch on it because I'm not preaching. It's not church. Why would we do that, right? We don't do that here. But the word is the word in some cases. So, we can try to say some of it. But when you start thinking about a control system, then I always ask the question, who's in control of what's going on? And I do this every show. Every bit of information goes through who control, how they control, and what are they hiding. I do that if you notice the pattern of what I do, before I move into the next segment, I'm going to go through that phase because I think those are important logics and questions that you should be asking yourself. So when you start thinking about military grade scientific agencies, global relocation planners, elite engineers, I have a friend, and I'm not going to call her name. And she just talked to me. She just left. She works for these organizations that they go out and they do, preparation for big events and stuff where there's food preps. They work along with, FEMA, but they have a whole certain organization. They got called recently in the last 2 weeks. She said, hey, I'm leaving Thursday. I'm out of here because they're getting us prepared for something big. Yeah, it could be maybe casualties that they thinking maybe if these riots get out of hand. I don't know, allegedly, but she's gone. And they're before first responders. They're way in prep phase. They train companies and other peoples to be ready mobile for whatever. And again, I'm not pushing a narrative that this is happening and maybe they're just preparing and like we should, right? And you should prepare for anything. But hey, good timing, right? Why would they do it now? And the question's always now. All right. So again, who has access to magnetic anomaly data that you don't see? What companies has enough power that they have the equipment, the technology, and the information on magnetic anomaly data? Now, okay, maybe we can go out with our compasses and that some gun just start spinning some days and maybe not. If that ever happened, sugar, honey, iced tea, right? If you can't know where north is and this thing is spinning, then we can go all the way back to movies. Godzilla is here or something. I don't know. But I'm just saying it gives us enough information to ask the questions, not to wake up terrified, not to go to sleep terrified. And if that's what you're getting from me, let me know in the chat. I'm not trying to fear. I'm trying to say, let's open our eyes. And because I said it, your eyes are useless when your mind is blind. Who trained us or you to dismiss ancient pole shift accounts as myth? You get what I'm saying? So the ancient ancestors have left in the text, and we're going to talk about that biblically in a minute, that it existed. But why are we told not to believe that? Why are we told these things that are carved in walls and tablets and things that are left behind? Somebody who was smart enough to say we're going to leave a sign behind. The aliens already left a sign. They left a big sign, and if you didn't know, my background, TV show, Alien, UFO investigator. So what I'm about to tell you is going to work for you. See, the aliens left signs on that we wasn't created by what we thought we was created by. And I'm not going to call names. And I read in some documentations of alien conversations that they said that they gave us a sign to let us know that we were genetically modified. And they said, we're going to put something in plain sight on Earth so that you humans would know that the impossible is possible. Right? And they did it. And so why wouldn't we believe our ancestors when they leave information about some kind of pole tilt or cataclysm that could possibly happen and all this stuff? Why wouldn't they? So it's those things that we want to think about when we get down to it. So let me give you what an animal is, because maybe you're asking. Nobody asked, or maybe y'all don't want to know. I'll move on. And some of y'all already know because you watched the show. I talked about it before. And some of you may be new. And if you knew for the first time, put in a chat. Let the community, us give you a shout out. And everybody right now, it's 80 people here right now. Let's hit the like button, please. And we can do that. So the question is, what are they hiding? And before that, you have, or academic models or slow changes, just psychological sedatives, right? So when they do these academic models, and they're showing, oh, this is a slow shift. Oh, this is 1,000 some years. Now, keep in mind, there was an alien that came that gave some information to our big secret keepers and said that they didn't really like Earth because Earth was an unstable planet. And they said because, they live for thousands of years, we live for 100, and a lot of stuff changes over 1,000 years. So your house where you at right now could be underwater 1,000 years from now. And they don't like that because it's something that doesn't happen. So is okay. Truth Seeking with Veronica says she's new. Welcome. You get what I'm saying, right? And so the animal that the alien said, same thing we're talking about here of believing in Nibiru and all of this, I'm tying it all in, is the duck-billed platypus. Go look it up. The aliens distinctly said, we put that creature here on Earth so that you all have a sense that you are created or genetically modified. Because if you've seen a duck-billed platypus, it's half duck, half beaver, half mammal, half avian, which those two cannot breed and cross, but yet it lay eggs, but the eggs are mammals. You get what I'm saying? And it has duck feet, but a beaver tail, beaver body. You can't make that up. You can't make that up. There ain't two things got together and said, we're going to make a baby duck beaver. They didn't do it. Somebody designed that. Think about it. You got all kinds of species out there that can't cross, but we got a duck and a beaver and duck feet, beaver tail swimming around and all of that. And it lays eggs, but yet then the babies are born. They're mammals, right? Mammals are library. You get what I'm saying? So what is this? Somebody was playing around and it's right in plain sight. So if you can believe that, then you can believe somebody made the pyramids. And then you can believe somebody took everybody because they all left before we got here. Then you can believe something happened. You can believe a whole civilizations got wiped out because we can't find them no more, but yet we got buildings that they built with machinery and things that we have never can't even do today with the technology. Tesla can't build some of that stuff. NASA can't build a pyramid. They can't move the rocks. They can't even carve a rock in the dimensions to build a pyramid. We have nothing that can do that, or at least we don't know about, right? So I'm just venting. I know I'm in this by myself. I'm just talking to myself. I know. But listen, okay, here we go. That celestial body like Nibiru doesn't have to crash into Earth. I said that already to destroy it. Its gravitation alone can unlock chaos beneath our feet. But underground, you're safe as you can be. And in the otherworldly stuff been knowing that for quite some time. They've been underground forever because it's safe. There's no heat. There's no air conditioning needed. The temperatures stay cool year round. It is a perfect climate. King Kong and Godzilla got into a fight. King Kong went home. He went back over to Alaska. He went back into a hole. He went back down into center Earth where he was just chilling with his buddies. Some kind of man-made sun was there and remnants of his family. Everybody got out of there and they went down to center Earth. Godzilla blew a hole and said, I'm going to burn you down there. And he went from China to down there. It's a movie. Somebody heard the story. And how long do you think people on this planet could survive without a magnetic field? Because that's supposedly be the key to everything. It keeps the sun from baking us like chicken. It keeps the whole thing. Although people out there trying to get suntans, but the magnetic field I got ain't gonna work without the other magnetic field, right? I'm just talking. Let me know if you're getting, if you're just all right with where we're at right now. You get what I'm saying? I'm just talking, but let me know, are you with me? I'll look over here in the chat. You know, I can't see it in real time because I got to focus on the camera to look into the camera, and my computer's over here. But regardless of that, you know, give me a one that you with me or something, and I'll look and see the ones in there. But in the meantime, let's get into segment part 2. Segment 2 of part 3 show. Okay. All right, Dr. Strange, appreciate it. Somebody's listening to me. I appreciate it. All right, somebody else is listening to me. All right, we got some ones. Nursing the Paranormal, Diane, Gypsy. All right, they're listening. Laura is listening. Isaac. All right, then. Come on. I feel really good now. I feel really good. All right, so we got some more ones. All right, I believe there is truth to everything. You absolutely, Rebel Raider, all of it. All right, so listen. Now, I'm getting ready to test some people. So prepare yourself. Because what I'm about to say now, you may not believe it. And was Nibiru in the Bible all along? That's where we're getting ready to go now. Floods, fire, forgotten star of judgment. This is all different little names. We're going to go into this, so prepare yourselves. I'm not going to go definitely with a lot of scriptures here, but we're just going to make mention, and then you go do the rest. But if it's in the Bible, then at least the Bible people will kind of follow along with us on this, right? When it gets down there. And I'm not saying that I'm not religious and I'm not a Christian person. I'm just a curious Christian. Very curious, okay? However, you read the Bible, you've heard the story, the flood, Exodus, the sun standing still. But what if I told you they wasn't miracles, people? They were mechanics. What if these weren't divine interruptions, but cosmic cycles triggered by something far older than Scripture? Woo, 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 woo. And I'm talking about Nibiru, the destroyer, the purifier, the cosmic hand of reset. Man, don't that sound like I wish I had some music or something to kind of put it so that you understand what I'm talking about when I say it. Maybe I do, maybe I don't, and maybe okay. I'm gonna say it again so that you get it. Let me see if this works.
I'm talking about Nibiru, the destroyer, the purifier, the cosmic hand of reset.
So I hope I got my point across. I hope I got my point across, and I didn't lose you for that one. But we were told the Bible is about faith and not astronomy, okay? The Bible is a metaphor, the symbol, faith-based stories of spiritual growth. That's what we've been taught, all of us. I've been taught, you've been taught that. That is it's a faith symbol, the stories of the manger and the miracles and the 5,000 fish and you know, whatever, 5,000 from whatever, blade of grass. What you get what I'm saying? We've been told all of that stuff. But embedded in those verses are celestial timelines, cosmic phenomena, and reoccurring cataclysms. All day, baby, all day. All consistent with periodic return of a rogue planetary body. And maybe, and this is just me saying this, so I'm going to say it a little different so that people can't say Roderick said this, but I'm going to say it a little different.
Maybe the return of Jesus is Nibiru. We all supposed to be ready, right?
I know I'm playing with my toys tonight, but that's the last time. I'm not doing it anymore. I just didn't want to be somebody said I said something, and that was just far-fetched, right? I just threw that out there because they keep always everybody saying the return of something, right? And now we have all this stuff happening. Who knows? And it's just enough for us to ask the question. Y'all get what I'm saying? It's enough for us to ask the question, why? And I've always told you, why is the most important thing that you have to think about when you come to all of these things. Because listen, all right, here's where we're going to go. In Exodus, We're talking about a pillar of fire. Y'all remember that, right? Plagues, darkness over Egypt, rivers turn red. Are we freaking kidding me that we're not going to think about what could have been, what was the metaphor for that? Destruction, something, reset, something, and they ain't got nothing to do with the Great Deluge. I'm just saying. Dr. Train said we all detectives. Yeah, let's be detectives and let's do it. Let's just do it. I'm just bringing this up as a question. In Revelations, let's not forget. What did it say? A star falls from heaven called wormwood, poisoning water. This is in Revelations. The word is the word. Okay. It's in Revelations. I just said what was in Exodus. I just said what our ancestors talk about. I'm not saying that they lied. And I guess if I wanted to be really, really petty, I'll go carve some real stuff right now in some rocks and place it somewhere that somebody's going to find it 200 years from now, and then they're going to start preaching about it. I mean, don't get me wrong. You know, I'm a movie buff. Y'all seen the Planet of the Apes. So we know how it works. And if you didn't remember, the Planet of the Apes really was us as humans. But in the last one, Caesar became a god, so to speak. You know, the little thing that he drew in his window when he was a baby monkey or ape or whatever. And he used to draw his window because that's all he looked out of. Well, hell, 200 years later, it was their cross. They was wearing it on their chest and Caesar the god. So we know how that can work. And we human. Well, I don't think somebody deliberately said we're going to scare the future. We're going to leave them the information. I want to be remembered. You know, I already thought a long time ago that I can't live forever. I already knew that, you know, if I had great grandkids, that they're not going to ever meet me. So how do I communicate with them today? How do I live forever? And I figured it out. I know how I'm going to live forever. It's called biochemical, whatever. That's why my book is about to be published with all of my thoughts. With my book, I live forever as long as it stays somewhere and somebody can read it, a library or something. I'm here. My mindset, my thoughts, my worldview lives forever. So write a book. Don't be forgotten. Tip. All right. So that's how the word got here. They left a book. It's been revised a billion times, but shit, they left it. Supposedly it's the instruction manual, right? In Genesis, the flood after the fountains of deep were broken up, right? Implying there was a crustal rupture and not just rain. So here's the deal. Here is the deal. If all of the ancient stuff, and it just hit me right now. So this is right off the cuffs for you, right? Hot off the press. If all the ancient implications is talking about floods, rain, poison water, rivers, you know, all of these things, and think about where all of this happens above ground. Now it's starting to make sense to why they are building bunkers or going underground, because obviously the ground is a safe haven. Underground is a safe haven. Now you can Google yourself. They're building them everywhere. I'm not, we're not just making that part up, right? We're not doing that, so I'm just not, it's something that we would think about, and pretty much. All right. So once again, if you finding value in the show tonight, make sure you like and share, or if you want to even give us a super chat, whatever you want to do. We are a community operated show. Okay. In the meantime, let me drink some water. And I've been programming my water while I've been sitting here. Y'all all know this. Let me put that up there. We use water programming. Take the other labels off, and then I program it with the flower codes, which is on our website, but a lot of you have already purchased it. But This is vibrational code of love and abundance. So it's programming, and then I'm going to drink programmed water, because you should know our water is a program that, you know, that you can speak negative stuff and the molecules in the water changes. You should know that. Go look it up. Go look it up. So in Genesis, like I said, you talk about the flood. You know, in Revelations, they talk about poisoning water. In Exodus, they're talking about, you know, a pillar of fire. All that happens above ground, not underground. So we're going underground. We're going underground. All right. And I'm building a bunker. So I'm taking applications. And now I'm taking applications. So if you want to come into the bunker with me, but just let you know, I might be under the pretense of reseeding Earth. So we got to make sure that we're able to do this, that we may have to make new Earthlings. And, you know, hey, why does these events like mirror pole shift physics and electromagnetic disruptions happen? So there's been a lot of event, and this kind of mirrors that when we're talking about this Nibiru thing, and it still connects us to the Bible. And we got a little more further in that, because the next question I want to ask: why does the Bible refer to the great and terrible day of the Lord with solar and lunar abnormalities? You get what I'm saying? If you go into the book, once again, it refers to the great, terrible day of the Lord. And that day is dealing with sun and moon problems. Is it not something we should question? Why is it saying that? Do we ignore those passages or statements or things? Do we ignore that? Roderick Stevens, which is another Roderick, I hope he pronounces Roderick, he says you can add Himalayan salt to your water and speak to it and program it. Hey, I program my water all the time with these codes, vibrational codes, pure money code, pure love code, depending on how I'm feeling that day. Money and abundance. Today, I'm just doing love and abundance. All right. So is there a hidden story behind sacred text? Let's talk about that for a quick second. And just when I thought I had figured it out, I had found some other stuff. And I'm like, okay, well, what are we looking at here? And the term Nibiru appears in ancient tablets dated thousands of years before Moses. Okay. But the events attributed to Yahweh align with planetary interference. And I'm going to go through some of those right now. So think about it. So go look it up. You know, go look it up and see if you can find some of the stuff. We're talking, once again, aligned with Yahweh, planetary interference stuff before Moses. So before the parting of the sea, all of this stuff, Pharaoh, whoever, they talked about thunderous sounds preceding quakes. Okay. They talked about fire descending from the sky. Now, at that time, they talk about spacecrafts and all that kind of stuff at that point. That's how we had the chariots of the gods. You know, that's how that got derived. And if you don't really believe that, Chariots of the Gods, you know, the book, the number one selling book back in the day about UFOs and aliens was called Chariots of the Gods. They call spacecraft chariots because at that time they saw what it would carry. Now, how do I believe that one? Because I read it in a book? Hell no. Because I started doing research and I'll start going all the way back from Roots, Roots, the slave show. And my ancestors were singing a song called Swing Low, Sweet Chariot, Come and Take Me Home. So you telling me that those folks, my ancestors out in those slave fields, who spacecraft, airplanes hadn't been invented. The word chariot was, because that's what they wrote, even the book before airplanes, all of it, was singing, swing low, sweet chariot and take me home. So they looking up at something in the sky while they out in those fields and saying, swing low, come and get us out of here, sweet, come and take me home. And when I looked over Jordan, what did I see? Because we already knew a lot of UFOs came over water. I'm just throwing that out there because we got to believe the past. Some kind of way we have to put a little credence in the past. Y'all get what you following me, right? It's worth noting. Hell, when I was young, I was trying to buy a car and they checked my credit. And he said, you don't pay your bills. We're not going to give you a car today. I'm like, but I pay my bills today. I didn't have a job back then when I was 20. Well, you got bad credit at 20. Shit. I was like, okay. They just made me debt free when I got older. I don't owe nobody shit. So, fire descending from the sky, thunderous sounds preceding quakes, seas harden as magnetic forces push water away temporarily. All of this stuff is happening above ground. All this stuff is happening above ground. Above ground, not underground. We building a bunker. We're going to build a bunker. Now, this doesn't remove divinity, though. Let me stop there. But it reveals mechanism, and God may have sent the tool. So let me make sure I clarify that. I got this written right here, highlighted on my iPad, because I knew I better make this disclosure right now. I'm not saying divinity does not exist. I believe divinity exists. I believe God exists. And I'm saying these are mechanisms, and God may have sent the tool. But Nibiru may have been the tool for the reset. They talk about in the Bible, we ain't right, he's going to come back and blah, blah, blah. Maybe that's the tool. You get what I'm saying? We got to understand it. We got to understand it. Yeah, y'all get what I'm saying, right? You're following with me. So I got another question here for you. Were the prophets warning us or decoding astronomical cycles passed down through bloodlines? And we already know about the bloodlines. We know this here, man, right? We know it here. We know what we talk about here because we do. And if wormwood is not allegory, but orbiting, how long before we see it in our skies? And I use the word wormwood because I want to use what the ancient people said so that you get the clarification that we're talking about Planet X, Nibiru, the Black Planet, Anunnaki, wormwood. They all talking about the same thing. They do. They just point it different. Let's talk about it. Therefore, as we come to a few more things to say here in this segment, the Bible isn't just a spiritual map. Maybe it's a survival manual. And it's probably why it's distorted so much, because they don't want people to know the freaking truth. Maybe it's a survival manual. And again, the best way to do that is distort the truth. We know how that works. We know it's possible because they do it that way. Don't they? Absolutely, they do. Absolutely. Because that's just how they roll. That's how they roll. So, as we begin to continue, what the priest cloaked in mystery, the ancients engraved in stone, and the stakes. So that's why they cover everything up, literally, because somehow the ancestors know we put this in stone, or we build something out of stone. I mean, we already know highways and everything's made out of cement. Then they're like, it's going to be there for a long time. Maybe that's what they're trying to accomplish when they do this. Okay? So if Nibiru returns as it has before, we don't just face another flood. Now, I'm going to say this again. We're going to be gone when that turns out. I'm just letting you know. I don't give a darn how healthy you are and you eating grapes and fruit every day. But by the time Nibiru get here, our A is out of here. We gone. But other people will be here. But now, if we're supposed to reincarnate or come back and it's a soul trap, and then tell your next generation to dig a hole and everybody else dig a hole, your family will have a bunker by this time. We just got to start the cycle. Just go in the backyard and start digging a hole and let the kids call you crazy. And just keep digging. And then another person is going to dig with you. And then another one. And then all of a sudden the bandwagon effect starts. Everybody's digging a hole. Is that what they're doing right now? The rich people? Because, such and such got money. He's digging him a hole in a bunker. I'm just talking. So maybe I'm speaking out the side of my neck. Nobody's agreeing with me, but is it not something for us to go, think about? We face a cosmic trial, fire, water, darkness, judgment by design. The elite read books differently. They don't just read them for inspiration. They read them for scheduling. I thought you'd get a kick out of that. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to increase my storytelling. You get what I'm saying? I'm trying to increase the storytelling right about now. You know what I'm saying? Right about now. So let me respond to a text here. So think about it. And let me put my vibrator on here. Okay, there we go. So, like I said, the elite, they read books a little different than we do. They're not out here trying to read it for inspiration. They read it for scheduling, preparation, thoughts, all of this stuff. They're making sure planning and everything else, right? And have we mistaken prophecy for metaphors? While they prepare for reality, is their plan. You get what I'm saying? We don't look at things like it's supposed to. You feel me? We're not looking at it like we're supposed to. Bobby says that the Bible is a diary of multiple personal accounts of ideology of Christian culture. Okay. There we go. That's his statement. And we have to look at those things. And if these are warnings, literally, are you ready to walk into pages of Revelation? Because that's exactly what we're talking about here. And then you still are trying to go into, okay, once again, we're going to go through our parts of who's controlling what and all of those things. I could have sworn I put the silent on my thing, but that's not happening. I'm still hearing it ring or something. Oh, it's coming from the computer because it's all attached. So, and we're talking about religious authorities, esoteric societies, secret Vatican archives. I mentioned this before yesterday. If you remember, we did a part 1 yesterday. We did part 2 last night, part 3. We're going to go into part 4 tomorrow. We're going to have part 4 tomorrow at 8 o'clock. And we're going to talk about the psychic window. And then we're going to go at 9 right into the uncensored area. And then we're going to tell you about this guy who was the main whistleblower of Nibiru, and they took him out. And I'm going to tell you how they did it, why they did it, the whole 9 yards. It's going to blow you away. These people are ruthless. And, of course, this is the Patreon access. You can go check it out. Make sure you get the all access pass because that's the only thing going to get you in the backside, okay? Man, we're going to talk about that. And One of the things that when you think about the control, you got to question, does the Vatican own the largest library of pre-Christian sky charts? Because I think they know. Before Christianity, they found the information, or after Christianity, they still find the truth and they hide it. But they probably have the largest library of pre-Christian sky charts. Why? Because we already know what's behind them anyway, and who they could be, and who they can shape into. We know that. We talk about that. So why wouldn't they have some of that information? Why have they never released the translations of the Book of Enoch? Think about that question. I'm talking the whole gamut of information. Think about it. It's for a reason, because there's maybe some truth in there. There's some things in there they don't want you or I or anybody to know. Very possible every day. Other question, how do they control? They do this by spiritualizing what was once scientific and marginalizing those who decode it. That's the whole playbook, problem, reaction, solution. They've been doing this. They always done it. It's the playbook. It's what that's just me giving you a story of analogy of life and interpretation, how my daughter saw the world and I saw the world, how Neil could see the world about aliens and sit there and say they don't exist and he's the most scientific brain of all time. But there's no evidence of extraterrestrial aliens. I don't believe. And the world is not round, it's an egg shape. But that's my guy. I'm not gonna lie to you. I watch his stuff on Masterclass and how he speaks, and I do it. So, I mean, I'm with him. I'm down with him. So, again, who taught us to treat prophecy as fiction, but science as sacred? What happens when we reverse those lenses? You get what I'm saying? And what are they really hiding? Because that God of Old Testament may have wielded interstellar forces to cleanse civilizations on a cycle, one that's due again. They talk about it all the time. They talk about it all the time. You get what I'm saying? So again, the God of the Old Testament may have wielded interstellar forces to cleanse civilizations on a cycle, and here we go. It always said that he's going to do stuff, you know, or the whatever. Everything talks about some type of ultimate cleansing out there. And the other question is the day of the Lord a memory or a countdown? Okay. You get where I'm connecting the dots, because like I said, I'm a Christian, but I'm a curious Christian. I got to ask the questions. You know, I got to ask, because they're not going to tell me in church. They're not going to tell me that. They're going to say no. Just like the scripture of let's make man in our image and the likeness of ourselves, and that's plural and all that. It ain't one God, but yet it is the Holy Trinity. The Father, Son, and the Holy Ghost said that. We're going to make man in our image. So, okay, cool. But when that red star rises, will you fall on your knees or will you rise with understanding? Y'all get what I'm saying? You know, what's going to happen then? That's just the question. So anyway, we're an hour into it. I'm going to do our last segment here. I hope you're finding some value in tonight. I hope I just humored you with a few things. I hope I'm doing my job of infotainment, making sure that we're looking at things in a different perspective. I know you might come here and Roderick, we just need documentation, you know, beats conversation. And I do try to mix in a little things and objectively, so that you, again, could get the, you know, the possibility of things and understand things and see things, and you go the extra step, because when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. I can't force nothing on you. I'm not going to do that, but I'm going to talk about it. We're going to do it. You know, all accounts by YouTube, the algorithm, all that, you know, this channel is supposed to be 5 times as big, you know, but my shareable is not there. You know, there's one element. No, I don't have a lot of shares of my content, and that's okay. You know, I wish it was a lot better. I wish it was a lot better, and then the system takes care of itself. I don't have to be here and saying, "Hey guys, contributed to the show," or come up with things that you can use though, and that you will support the show, that you get reciprocity, some back. Maybe it's a shirt. Maybe you get your water to program. All these things, because if we do our job as a community, YouTube's going to let the ad people run ads on the show, and then they give us. There's a lot of other YouTubers don't say a lot of things that we say, and I get it. And it does force me to make other decisions that I'm going to announce in about 3 weeks. But that's just something I have to do, right? So I'm saying it is part of how we are and what we do. So as we get into what I call the scientific countdown, as this third segment here, the arrival window, and what the scientists say about this thing and what they don't say out loud. I think it's worth us talk about the religious, like I just did. And now let's go scientific. Let's go there. So, and then you could take both informations either way you like, and then you can make a decision for yourself. Which part? Okay. So let's go into what the scientist says. And if you think they don't know, the astronomers and scientists are guessing, but the silence isn't ignorant, it's fear. Okay, I just want you to know this. Fear of causing mass panic, fear of losing control, because off the record, they've already admitted it. They've charted it. And now some of them are disappearing. Maybe they're going underground. Maybe they're getting a consciousness and they want to go ahead and tell some people or something. Because when you talk to the scientists about this and you start talking about Nibiru and all of this, you know what the scientists say to you? And they say it in public. Look me in the face. I'm going to tell you what they're saying. Look right here. You with me? When the scientists hear about Nibiru, they say things like,
"That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard."
That's how they roll it. You know, and I be like, I answer them back, be like,
"Now that's a damn lie."
And so now we have this confrontation, and now I'm a conspiracy theorist. And so it works out totally different. And this is how they roll it. They tell us, though, we don't have enough data. There is no proof Nibiru exists. It's a conspiracy theory. But that's not what they said behind closed, those observatory doors, those telescopes, and all that stuff. They don't say all of that stuff. But like I said, tomorrow, part 4, and then the after show, we're going to get into what one of the guys really said, who was the whole dismantle of the whole thing, and they took him out, man. From Caltech to U.S. Naval Observatory, top-tier astronomers, scientists, physicists, they all submitted in redacted papers acknowledging that there are gravitational disturbances in the Kuiper belt. There's orbital clustering of trans-Neptunian or Neptunian objects, TNO, pointing to a massive unseen body. And then there's satellite disruption and solar flares anomalies increasing in patterns. Somebody else today, we was talking about satellite disruption, and he was talking about it. Yeah. So there you go. That's things to get you to think about. That'll get you to really think about. So the question is, if it's not real, why are they funding deep space monitoring in Southern Hemisphere only? I said that last night, and I said it again. Why has Planet 9 quietly replaced Nibiru in academic language while the metrics, they stay the same? They're doing that. They're really doing it. don't know why. So I would say that the arrival isn't what we call speculation. Maybe it's a managed secret, right? And here's where it gets a little chilling. Multiple observatories, especially those with infrared capabilities, have confirmed a movement consistent with a massive object entering into the solar system from beneath the ecliptic, right? They said this. They've talked about it. And here's the kicker, though. Whistleblowers claim high-level defense protocols were activated as early as 2015. It's like they didn't prepare for this crap. Internal memos, a deep incoming, what they call it, perturbator, matching Nibiru's characteristics. MIT, they got plasma physics recently modeling electromagnetic surge events coinciding with a large celestial body approach. They all seeing it and see what's happening. And that's how they roll. And I'm just going to say it's not mythology, and this is math. And math, we already know, is the fundamental of the planet. You know, everything is mathematical. It's all mathematical, everything. That's how they roll it. And I just think that's one of those things. So why are the government moving digital infrastructure to deep underground data centers? That's a question. Why does FEMA use space weather drills that early mirror Nibiru impact timelines? They practice for this stuff. And we can say arrival is not a distant future, it's a controlled narrative. Then, like I said, it's the matter of when. That's all we're talking about, you know, and they don't want us to prepare for it. And when I say they don't want us to prepare, they don't want your children and grandchildren and generations to prepare. Why they wouldn't do that? So it's not just you know, you, me, they just wouldn't do it. And so those are things that we want to understand. And they want you to watch the sky with skepticism until it's a little too late. And Nibiru doesn't have to hit us. It passes alone. That's what they're going to be like. Oh, it's just going to pass by. Oh, yeah, it's not going to hit us. It's going to flip our poles. It's going to cripple our satellites. It's going to collapse economics with EMPs. It's going to do some stuff. It's going to trigger volcanoes, judging by the ancient texts. I'm not saying it now, but the ancient texts, they all said it. And worst of all, it triggers mass psychological breakdown because no one was told the truth in time. So our ancestors like, hey, we want to warn the future. And I'm not saying somebody didn't come and say, hey, we're going to take these people off this planet and put them somewhere else, because that's where the whole Mayans went, right? They all just left. So my question to you is simple.
Doesn't that seem strange to you?
Does it? Does it? That's the question. Now, how they frame this stuff is deep space science elites, black budget observatory, UN controlled astrophysics. They all says, you know, that what exists doesn't exist. And it's almost like we have to ask who audit these agencies and their data is classified. So they have no watchers. This is, again, why I promote Luminous. We have to become the watchers. Yeah, I get people like, oh, man, you got the owl. He's part of some cult. Man, whatever. The symbols is for all of us. And the fact is, we're luminous and we see in the dark. Period. 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 So, right now, one of you get your luminous so I can shout you out right now, right here. And I'm going to put it on the screen real quick. Just real quick. Ain't going to take too much space. Right there. You can cash out. Make sure in the notes you put your telephone number and name, just like everybody else did. and I'm going to call you personally and thank you, talk to you, whatever we need to do. Share some of your stories, whatever it is. And it's going to take care of the shipping and the whole 9 yards. Yes. But you can find it on our Truth versus Authority store. And I'm mailing these out tomorrow. And I mailed some yesterday too. So, but you can order on the store and we ain't got to talk. Just go there and order and I'll get the order and ship it out. Truth versus Authority.store. All right. So linguistic manipulation, disinformation, suppression of whistleblowers. The question is Planet 9 the academic name for Nibiru to keep us compliant? Because everything they do is try to change what meanings and names to keep us compliant. And the other thing, too, why is it acceptable to question aliens but not planetary anomalies? You get what I'm saying? Well, we can question the aliens don't exist. And planetary anomalies, there's no conversation. But they know it. Scientists know it. But we don't think no aliens exist. I mean, it just don't add up. The stuff don't add up. It just don't add up. Becky's World is in the house. What's going on, Becky? Didn't you try to reach out Father's Day? Because I thought you tried to, and I tried to reach back. Anyway, if you did, thank you for calling on Father's Day. Thank you. I just thought so. But let me finish so we can continue. What are they hiding? They've already modeled up multiple arrival windows, many pointing to within our lifetimes. So the question is, what if your government, or what will your government do when the public finally sees it? Because that's how the point we're going to see. How are they going to handle it when you see it? And that, ladies and gentlemen, is going to be the question of questions. And will they warn you or would they let the chaos itself? Because they're going to go underground. That's the question. So here's where we're going to go. The psychic timeline. We're going to be doing that tomorrow. And to kind of give you a kind of tips to that is just as the scientists went silent. Okay. Yes. Why the big secret for the luminous, Jay Birds? And if you do that, let me see. Somebody might have did it already. Let me go here so I can think someone. Well, I thought it was. Oh, yes, I am. I'm going to think who. Let me give you a shout out. You want me to call your first name? I'm just going to say Don. I'm going to leave it right there. And I'm going to tell you thank you with hearts right there. You're going to get a heart back. And I got your number. All right. Oh, my bad. Jay Birds. Should have called the username. But anyway, thank you, Jay Birds. Yes. Jay Birds is going to get the luminous. Man, I'm telling you, these things are nice, man. People have been really. And like I said, if you want to upgrade the chain, but I like this dog collar chain. I mean, what do they call it? The military thing. But this is cool. And you're going to feel it. We activate the symbol and all that stuff. And you get a mail. But anyway, I'll call you tomorrow. And I could text after the show, and I might from my personal phone. And then if you're up, we can talk then, but more likely tomorrow. And thank you for answering the call. And if anyone else, let's give you a shout out before we get out of here. Listen, what we're going to be talking about tomorrow, just as the science went silent, the psychics started speaking. Now we're going to go into the psychics and their conversation about Nibiru and what they describe. And again, they describe a window of judgment from the sky and a split in human consciousness. But here's the question that will burn through your mind into tomorrow. I want you to understand this. When multiple psychics from different continents, unconnected, unscripted, predict the same year, what force is giving them that message? I'm going to leave you with that because I want you to think about that tonight for tomorrow when we do part 4 at 8 o'clock. And then we're going to go silent into our uncensored area. The membership for the all access is $26. So if you go there and we talk We can say whatever we want. Sometimes I can bring in on the screen. It's a private area. We can say whatever we want, how we want to say it, and they don't listen back there because they don't have the AI, monitoring us like they do. They have a security guard right now that is ruthless, and they can watch, hear, see everything. Have you ever tried the new AI? You can put a picture in ChatGPT and ask it to tell you what it sees, and it's going to describe it. It can see. That darn thing can see. Roderick, you're going to have me to pull up all night. I'm going to have you up all night. Oh, I said pull up. Yeah, see, I already know I'm in season. I'm not in season, right? But it's the old folks talking. Anyway, that's funny. Pull up. Up all night. So I'm going to ask the question again before you get out of here. When multiple psychics from different continents, unconnected, unscripted, predict the same year, what force is giving them that message? Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to leave you with that tonight. It's been a plum, pleasing pleasure as well as a privilege to serve you. And I haven't done this in a while, but I'll do it tonight just to give you a little things. Just kind of say it from there. Listen, it's all about love, and you should know this by now. You want to know that love is the pinnacle of it all, and it gets us through a lot of things. Love keeps us from fighting, keeps us from worrying, keeps us from just up all night of BS. But the love to understand knowledge should be really greater than it all. Not just loving yourself, but loving the exploration of going for the information to get what you need. And I think that this is the message that people should get and do and begin the process of, and we talked about the word cognitive dissonance, right? And people should be able to understand when they find something that is true and they thought it wasn't true all their lives, they can convert. Vice versa, something they thought was not true, and then they find out the opposite, or either back vice versa. They should be able to convert their mind, their consensus, and be able to move. But that's not happening because of anxiety. It's not happening because the way the system is designed to keep us from being able to convert to different ideology based upon information. Because we were embedded to grow up this child as a child, and you're going to think is this, and when you get to adult, and that shit works. It works. It works. All right, so I love y'all. I really do. And to my haters, if you're going to be here hating on me, and you don't even know me, but I can still love you, and I don't even never have to meet you. I can just still love you. And I'm going to tell you I love you. Because that's what it's all about. All right, good night, you all. Yes, Ash, we've been brainwashed since birth. Absolutely. Yeah, how many of us told our kids about be nice? How many of you told your kids to be nice and because somebody's watching you? Because he's going to know if you naughty or nice when Christmas time, and he's going to slip me a note. Because he's watching you. How many got your children walking around and Santa Claus is watching them, the watchers? And we pass that story on generation to generation to generation. Yeah, we do. We pass that story on generation to generation. That's how we roll it. All right, y'all. And as the great Oprah would say,
hell no.
I'll see y'all tomorrow at 8 o'clock. 8 o'clock.
Welcome, Truth Seeker. You are no longer asleep. I am Luminous, the Owl of Truth. The world is blind, but you have opened your eyes. Welcome to the fire of esoteric knowledge and truth. You are now one of the awakened. You are now luminous. Welcome to the rebellion. Welcome to truth versus authority.